Donald Trump and his congressional allies are now targeting former special counsel Jack Smith, but be careful what you wish for.
Look, I bleed blue because I need them to protect us, but law enforcement officers lying in a court of law is not exactly something that's unique and new under Trump. I mean, it's been going on forever and ever and ever.
About something that's on video?
Well, now they're on video.
This is the issue, right?
Look,
like, we see all
Derek
these
Chauvin
things.
went to trial, right? The whole thing was on video, and that's his constitutional right to contradict what we saw on video. So, but I mean, look, Trump's Department of Justice going to trial and someone being found not guilty. Luckily, under my law firm, of the last 5 presidents.
Okay, so picture this. You're Donald Trump. You're sitting down for what you think is going to be a friendly Fox News interview. You're ready to talk about your agenda, your wins, whatever talking points you've got lined up for the day. And then Laura Ingraham hits you with a question about your wife, about Melania, about whether she actually supports your newest pet project at Mar-a-Lago, or if she's completely fed up with you, and you absolutely lose it on live television in front of millions of viewers. Yeah, that just happened. And honestly, it was spectacular in the worst possible way. But before we go any further, real quick, let's be honest, you can't really trust headlines anymore. That's why we built Pump Politics to bring you real stories, real context, and no corporate spin. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, join our free newsletter. We'll send the news straight to your inbox every day. Just click the link in the description to join. And if you just want to support what we're doing, join us, be part of the community that actually cares about the truth. All right, let's get back to the video.
We have it confirmed from White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, who said that the president exercised his constitutional authority by issuing this pardon to Zhao, who was prosecuted, they say, by the Biden administration. These charges came down in 2023 when Zhao, pled guilty to charges related to money laundering. But Caroline went on to say that they essentially, despite no allegations of fraud or identifiable victims, that the Biden administration sought these charges against Zhao, and that the actions by the Biden administration, they say, severely damaged the United States' reputation.
This isn't some random gossip column drama we're talking about here. This is the former president of the United States, currently serving his 2nd term, having a full-blown meltdown because someone dared to ask about his marriage. On November 10th, 2025, Trump sat down with Laura Ingraham on Fox News, and what was supposed to be another softball interview turned into an absolute train wreck. The question was simple enough. Reports have been swirling for days about tension between Trump and Melania over his newest project at Mar-a-Lago, this massive new ballroom he's been building. Word on the street was that Melania either didn't approve of it, wasn't consulted about it, or was blindsided when Trump unveiled it to the press. So Ingraham asked about it. She asked where Melania was. She asked if there was truth to the rumors about marital tension. And Trump, he snapped. He literally said, and I'm quoting here, "Yeah, she liked her office, but I don't care. Why would I care? Come on, are you kidding me? Your wife allegedly has problems with a multi-million-dollar construction project you're doing at your own resort, and your response on national television is, I don't care? That's not just dismissive. That's not just rude. That's a window into how Trump actually views his marriage when he thinks he's being attacked. And the way he said it, the tone, the anger in his voice, it was clear this question hit a nerve, a massive nerve. But it gets even better, or worse depending on how you look at it. Trump didn't stop there. He went on this whole rant about fake stories and disloyal staff and the media making things up. He claimed that people were lying about Melania never being in the White House. He dismissed her critics. He got defensive in that particular Trump way where he starts talking in circles and contradicting himself and making everything worse. And the whole time, you could see it on his face. This wasn't a prepared response. This wasn't spin. This was genuine anger that someone had the audacity to question his marriage on live TV. Now, here's why this matters beyond just juicy political drama. This meltdown didn't happen in a vacuum. For weeks, maybe months, there's been mounting speculation about Melania's role or lack thereof in Trump's 2nd term. She's been largely absent from White House events. She's been spending most of her time at Mar-a-Lago or Trump Tower. Insiders have been whispering about distance in the marriage, about her reluctance to fully embrace the First Lady role again, about tension over everything from staffing decisions to Trump's legal problems to his behavior in public. And now we've got video evidence, viral video evidence, that's reigniting all of that speculation and making it impossible to ignore. There's this clip that's been circulating on social media, and if you haven't seen it, you need to look it up. It's from a 2021 World Series event. Trump and Melania are sitting together. The cameras are on them, and you can watch in real time as Melania's expression goes from a polite smile to absolute disgust. Like she doesn't even try to hide it. Her face just shifts, and the internet went crazy. People started analyzing it frame by frame. Memes exploded everywhere. Commentary channels dissected every micro expression, and the narrative became crystal clear. Melania is not happy. Melania has never been happy. And now that she's back in the spotlight because of Trump's second term, all of that unhappiness is on full display. But wait, there's more. Because of course there is. This whole scandal is also tangled up with legal drama. Melania's legal team has been going after author Michael Wolff over claims he made in a tell-all book. Claims about Trump, about Epstein, about things that Melania absolutely does not want in the public conversation. Her lawyers are demanding retractions. They're threatening billion-dollar lawsuits. And all of that legal posturing is doing exactly what you'd expect. It's making the press pay even more attention. It's making people wonder what's true and what's not. It's adding fuel to a fire that's already out of control. So now we've got Trump melting down on Fox News about his marriage. We've got viral videos of Melania looking disgusted sitting next to him. We've got legal battles over tell-all books. We've got reports of staff leaks describing deep tension in the Trump household. And all of this is happening while Trump is dealing with election setbacks, legal stress, ongoing investigations, and polling numbers that aren't doing him any favors. Personal drama at the absolute worst possible time, and Trump's response: lose his temper on live television and make everything 10 times worse. Buckle up, because we're about to break down exactly how this scandal exploded, why Trump's reaction was so revealing, and what this means for his second term and his ability to control his own narrative. This is going to get messy. Alright, let's dig into the details here, because this story has so many layers. It's basically a political onion, and every layer you peel back just makes you want to cry, or laugh, or both. First, we need to understand the timeline of how this all went down, because this wasn't just one isolated incident. This was a slow building pressure cooker that finally exploded on live television. The initial spark for all of this was Trump's new ballroom project at Mar-a-Lago. Now, if you know anything about Trump, you know he loves building things. He loves putting his name on things. He loves showing off. So when he decided to add this massive elaborate ballroom to Mar-a-Lago, of course he was going to make a big deal about it. Press events, tours, the whole 9 yards. But here's where things get interesting. According to multiple reports from people close to the Trump family, Melania was either not consulted about this project or she actively opposed it and got overruled. Some sources say she wanted the space used for something else. Some say she thought the whole thing was too ostentatious even by Trump standards. Some say she was just tired of Trump making unilateral decisions about properties they both technically own. Whatever the exact truth is, the bottom line is that Melania was not on board. And when Trump went ahead and unveiled this ballroom anyway, treating it like his personal achievement, it reportedly caused a huge fight behind closed doors. Now, how do we know about this fight? Staff leaks. Always staff leaks. The Trump White House, both the first time and now in the second term, has been notoriously leaky. People on the inside talk to reporters. They share details about arguments, about tensions, about things the Trumps definitely don't want public. And in this case, multiple staffers apparently witnessed or heard about this blow-up over the ballroom. They described it as one of the worst fights in recent memory. Yelling, door slamming, Melania refusing to attend the unveiling event. All the drama you'd expect from a couple that's been under this kind of public pressure for years. But here's where it gets even more complicated. Melania has been largely absent from Trump's second term in a way that goes beyond normal First Lady duties. She's not showing up to state dinners. She's skipping important White House events. She's barely visible in public appearances with Trump. And when reporters started asking about it, the White House line was always the same. She's focusing on her initiatives. She's spending time with Barron. She's maintaining her independence. Standard PR spin. But insiders tell a different story. They say Melania never wanted Trump to run again. They say she was hoping he'd lose in 2024 so they could just retire to Mar-a-Lago and fade into wealthy obscurity. They say she resents being First Lady again and is basically doing the bare minimum required of her. And then there's the body language. Oh man, the body language. That viral video from the 2021 World Series is just one example, but there are dozens more if you start looking. Melania pulling her hand away when Trump tries to hold it. Melania standing as far from Trump as physically possible during photo ops. Melania's facial expressions during speeches where she looks like she'd rather be literally anywhere else. The internet has been cataloging these moments for years, and they paint a pretty consistent picture. This is not a woman who is happy in her marriage or her circumstances. So when Laura Ingraham brought up Melania during that Fox News interview, she wasn't just asking a random personal question. She was touching on something that's been simmering in public consciousness for months. She was asking Trump to address rumors that everyone already kind of believes are true. And Trump's reaction tells you everything you need to know about how sensitive this topic is for him. He didn't laugh it off. He didn't pivot smoothly to something else. He got angry, defensive, dismissive. He said he didn't care what Melania thought about the ballroom. He said he didn't care about her critics. he tried to claim that reports of her absence were fake news, even though anyone with eyes can see she's barely around. And then he made it worse by going after the media and staff. He started ranting about disloyal people, leaking stories. He complained about fake reporting. He acted like the victim of some grand conspiracy to make his marriage look bad. But here's the thing, Trump. When you say, I don't care, why would I care about your wife's opinion on national television? You don't need a conspiracy to make your marriage look bad. You're doing that all by yourself. The optics were terrible, absolutely terrible, because what viewers saw was a president who got immediately hostile when asked about his wife, who dismissed her concerns, who seemed more worried about his image than about his actual relationship. That's not a good look for anyone, let alone someone in the White House. Now let's talk about that legal battle with Michael Wolff, because that's adding a whole other dimension to this mess. Wolff wrote a tell-all book that included some pretty explosive claims about Trump's connections to Jeffrey Epstein and implied things about Melania's knowledge of all of that. Melania's legal team went nuclear. They demanded retractions. They threatened massive lawsuits. They claimed Wolff was spreading lies and damaging her reputation. And Wolff's response? He basically said, bring it on. He stood by his reporting. He pointed to his sources. He made it clear he wasn't backing down. So now you've got this public legal battle playing out in the media. Melania's lawyers are making threats. Wolff is defending his work. News outlets are covering every development, and all of it is keeping the Trump marriage in the headlines in the worst possible way. Because even if the specific Epstein claims aren't true, the fact that Melania is fighting this hard to keep certain stories out of the public eye makes people wonder what else there is to hide. It creates an impression of secrecy and dysfunction that feeds into the broader narrative about their relationship. And speaking of narratives, let's talk about timing. This scandal is blowing up at literally the worst possible moment for Trump. He's dealing with legal challenges. Multiple investigations are ongoing. His polling numbers have been inconsistent. He's facing pushback from within his own party on certain issues. The last thing he needs is a personal scandal dominating the news cycle and making him look unstable. But that's exactly what's happening, because Trump couldn't control his temper during a Fox News interview, because staff keep leaking details about marital fights, because Melania keeps showing up in viral videos looking miserable. The story has taken on a life of its own. Political analysts are pointing out that personal drama like this has real consequences. It makes Trump look distracted. It makes voters question his stability and judgment. It gives his opponents easy ammunition. Democrats are already using clips of that Fox interview in social media posts, highlighting Trump's "I don't care" comment and asking if that's really the kind of leadership Americans want. It's damaging in ways that go beyond just embarrassing tabloid fodder. This is affecting his political viability. And here's what makes it even more fascinating. From a psychological standpoint, Trump has always been someone who craves control. He wants to control the narrative. He wants to control how he's perceived. He wants everyone to see him as strong, successful, in charge. But his marriage is one area where he clearly doesn't have that control. Melania does what she wants. She maintains her distance. She makes her displeasure visible. And Trump can't do anything about it without making things worse. So when Ingraham asked about it, she was essentially poking at this vulnerability that Trump absolutely hates acknowledging. And he reacted exactly the way you'd expect someone to react when their loss of control is exposed on live TV. But let's also talk about Melania's perspective here, because she's not just a passive player in all of this. By most accounts, Melania is a smart, calculating person who understands media and public perception very well. Her silence, her absence, her visible displeasure, these are all strategic choices. She's not stupid. She knows those videos are going viral. She knows people are speculating about her marriage. She knows her legal battles with authors are generating headlines, and she's allowing it to happen, which suggests that maybe, just maybe, she doesn't mind if the public thinks she's unhappy. Maybe she's done protecting Trump's image at the expense of her own comfort. Maybe this is her way of exerting whatever power she has in a situation where she feels trapped. Think about it. She can't divorce Trump while he's president without creating an absolute media firestorm that would define the rest of her life. She can't openly criticize him without facing backlash from his supporters. But she can be absent. She can look miserable in photos. She can let staff leak stories about fights. She can pursue legal battles that keep her grievances in the public eye without her having to say anything directly. It's a form of passive resistance. And Trump, for all his bluster and control tactics, can't really stop it without admitting there's a problem. Which brings us right back to that Fox News meltdown. Okay, so let's break down the key points you need to understand about this absolute circus. Because there's a lot happening here, but it really comes down to a few critical things. Point 1. Trump's reaction on Fox News revealed way more than he intended. When Laura Ingraham asked about Melania and the ballroom drama, Trump could have handled it a dozen different ways. He could have laughed it off. He could have said something diplomatic about respecting his wife's privacy. He could have pivoted to literally any other topic. But instead, he said, "I don't care. Why would I care?" and proceeded to have a mini meltdown about fake stories and disloyal staff. That's not the response of someone who's secure in their marriage. That's the response of someone who's deeply sensitive about a topic they know is problematic. Point 2, the viral videos and body language don't lie. You can spin a lot of things in politics. You can have PR teams craft perfect statements. You can have spokespeople deny allegations, but you can't fake body language in candid moments, and you can't stop the internet from analyzing every frame of footage. That 2021 World Series video, where Melania's face shifts from a smile to disgust, is just one example of dozens. People have compiled montages of her pulling away from Trump, looking uncomfortable, seeming miserable at events, and those images are more powerful than any official statement because they feel authentic. They feel like glimpses of the real dynamic between these two people when they think cameras aren't watching, except cameras are always watching. Point 3, the timing of this scandal is catastrophic for Trump politically. He's already juggling multiple crises, legal problems, political opposition, media battles. The last thing he needs is personal drama dominating headlines and making him look unstable or out of control. But that's exactly what's happening. And the reason it's so damaging is because it feeds into existing narratives about Trump, that he's volatile, that he's thin-skinned, that he can't handle criticism, that his personal life is a mess. Every new development in this Melania saga reinforces those narratives and makes it harder for Trump to control his image or focus public attention on his policy agenda. In point 4, Melania's role in all of this is more active than it appears. She's not just a victim of circumstance or an unwilling participant in Trump's political career. She's making choices. The choice to be largely absent from White House events, the choice to let her displeasure show in public, the choice to pursue aggressive legal action against authors like Michael Wolff. These are strategic decisions that have consequences for Trump's image and political standing. Whether she's doing it intentionally to undermine him or simply prioritizing her own comfort and boundaries, the effect is the same. She's not protecting his image anymore, if she ever really was. So why does all of this matter? Why should anyone care about Trump's marriage drama beyond just entertainment value? First reason, it's a test of Trump's ability to control narratives and maintain his image. Trump has built his entire political brand on being strong, in control, winning, but he can't control his wife's behavior. He can't control viral videos. He can't control staff leaks about their fights. And every time he tries to push back against these stories, like he did on Fox News, he just makes things worse. That's a real vulnerability. That's a crack in the armor that his opponents can and will exploit. Second reason, it affects his political effectiveness. A president who's distracted by personal scandals, who's dealing with public speculation about his marriage, who's visibly angry and defensive during interviews, is a president who's not fully focused on governing. Trump's Fox News meltdown showed a man who's clearly bothered by these rumors, who's spending mental energy on damage control, who's letting personal issues bleed into his public performance. That matters when you're trying to run a country and maintain political support. Third reason, it reinforces negative perceptions that already exist. People who don't like Trump already think he's disrespectful to women, including his own wife. This scandal gives them more evidence. People who think Trump is temperamental and can't handle criticism now have video of him losing it when asked about Melania. People who believe Trump's marriages have always been transactional now see what looks like confirmation. You don't change minds or win over skeptics by proving their assumptions right. You do it by defying expectations. And Trump's behavior here is doing the exact opposite. Fourth reason, Melania's visible unhappiness humanizes the cost of Trump's political ambitions in a way that's hard to ignore. Whatever you think about Melania politically, watching someone look that miserable standing next to their spouse is uncomfortable. It makes people wonder what it costs to be married to Trump, what compromises she's had to make, what she's given up. And those questions create sympathy for her and by extension criticism of him. It's not a dynamic that helps Trump politically or personally. Now, what comes next? That's the question everyone's asking. Will Trump try to do damage control? Will Melania make some kind of public statement or appearance to try to tamp down speculation? Will more staff leaks come out with additional details about their relationship? Will the Michael Wolff legal battle escalate and produce more headlines? All of that is possible. But here's what we know for sure. This story isn't going away. Not when there's fresh video evidence regularly surfacing. Not when Trump himself can't resist reacting defensively to questions about it. Not when political opponents see it as an easy target. Not when the media knows this kind of personal drama gets attention and clicks. Trump's challenge now is figuring out how to minimize the damage. But that's hard to do when the damage is largely self-inflicted and ongoing. Every time Melania skips an event, people notice. Every time Trump gets defensive about his marriage, people notice. Every time a new viral clip surfaces of her looking miserable, people notice. He can't control any of that without actually addressing the underlying issues in his marriage, and there's zero indication he's willing or able to do that, so the bleeding continues. The political implications are significant too. Democrats are already weaponizing this. They're sharing clips of Trump's "I don't care" comment. They're pointing to Melania's absence as evidence of dysfunction in the White House. They're using the scandal to paint Trump as unstable and distracted. And it's working to some degree because the evidence is right there on video for everyone to see. You can't claim it's fake news when people can watch Trump losing his temper in real time. You can't dismiss body language analysis as liberal bias when the videos are available for anyone to watch and judge for themselves. Republicans who support Trump are in an awkward position too. How do you defend a president who says he doesn't care what his wife thinks on national television? How do you spin viral videos of the first lady looking disgusted sitting next to her husband? Most of them are just avoiding the topic entirely, hoping it fades from the news cycle, but it's not fading. If anything, it's getting bigger. More people are talking about it. More media outlets are covering it. More analysts are discussing what it means for Trump's presidency and political future. Here's my take, and this is commentary, but it matters. What we're watching is a president who cannot separate his personal vulnerabilities from his public role. Trump has always been someone who takes everything personally. Criticism isn't just criticism to him. It's an attack that demands retaliation. So when Ingraham asked about Melania, he couldn't just give a polished non-answer. He had to fight back. He had to defend himself. He had to attack the media and the leakers and anyone questioning his marriage. And in doing so, he made the story 10 times bigger and more damaging than it would have been if he just brushed it off. That's the pattern with Trump. His worst political wounds are often self-inflicted. He can't let things go. He can't ignore provocations. He can't resist escalating conflicts that he should simply avoid. And this Melania scandal is a perfect example. If he just smiled and said Melania and I are fine, next question, this would have been a minor blip. But because he got angry and defensive and dismissive, it became a major story. It became evidence of instability. It became something his opponents can use against him for months. So where does this leave us? We've got a president who just had a very public meltdown about his marriage on Fox News. We've got a first lady who is visibly, consistently unhappy and absent from her role. We've got viral videos that won't stop circulating. We've got legal battles generating more headlines. We've got staff leaks providing more details. And we've got political opponents ready to exploit all of it. This story is far from over. If anything, we're probably still in the early stages, because as long as Melania stays distant, as long as Trump stays defensive, as long as new videos keep surfacing, the scandal will continue to grow. And honestly, the fact that we're even talking about this, the fact that a president's marriage drama is dominating political news cycles, tells you something important about where we are as a country. We've normalized chaos. We've normalized dysfunction. We've normalized presidential behavior that would have been unthinkable a generation ago. And maybe that's the real story here. Not just that Trump and Melania are apparently miserable together, but that we're all watching it play out in real time and treating it like just another day in American politics. Stay tuned, because this is only going to get messier. And when the next video drops, when the next interview happens, when the next leak comes out, we'll be right here breaking it down for you. This is the kind of drama that defines presidencies, and we're watching it unfold frame by frame.